Hi, folks. Labor Day, such a distant memory now.
I know.
But the good news is the Labor Day sale, tincture sale at sunsetlakesabadeh.com is still happening. Doesn't matter whether you're recovering from a long day or relaxing on your day off, you deserve a Sabadeh tincture that works as hard as you do. Sunset Lake's Sabadeh full spectrum Sabadeh tinctures do just that. Doesn't matter whether you need to unwind, fall asleep at night, or keep your stress in check. A little Sabadeh can help, believe me. And all this week until next Monday, or this Monday, the 9th, at the end of the day, Eastern Standard Time, use the code LABOR, L-A-B-O-R, and you will get 30% off of all their tinctures. What kind of tinctures they have? They've got, well, my favorite, the Good Night Oil, which is now my go-to every night to get to sleep. They also have just straight Sabadeh tinctures in like 6,000, 3,000, 750 mils, maybe 1,500 as well. So you get different strengths. They also have it in 3 different flavors. Natural, my fave. Mint is good actually at night after you brush your teeth. You don't want to. And orange. All of their Sabadeh tinctures, like all of their great Sabadeh products over at sunsetlakesabadeh.com, are third-party tested. You get a full breakdown of what's in these things. They have great farming practices. They don't use any pesticide. They use integrated pest management to deal with those little pests. They also use regenerative farming practices, so they take care of the soil. They got great business practices, $20 minimum wage, mostly employee-owned company. Also, they are movement partners. They have donated thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. Things like strike relief funds and carceral reform and refugee resettlement and Planned Parenthood and Give Directly and food pantries and mutual aid they were involved in up in Vermont in the wake of the floods. Just an all-around great company. And you can go to sunsetlakesabadeh.com before September 9th. Use the code LABOR. Get 30% off their Sabadeh tinctures and their participating bundles. See their websites for terms and conditions. And as always, use the coupon code Left is Best, and you get 20% off of everything else. And now, time for the show.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder, where every day's Casual Friday. That means Monday is Casual Monday. Tuesday, Casual Tuesday. Wednesday, Casual Hump Day. Thursday, Casual Thurs. That's what we call it. And Friday, Casual Shabbat. The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
It is Friday, September 6th, 2024. My name is Sam Seder. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, father of accused Georgia shooter charged. Meanwhile, YouGov poll has Harris up in 4 of 7 swing states. This in the wake of Harris-Walz raising more than $300 million in August. Meanwhile, Donald Trump repays Elon Musk for hundreds of millions of dollars in his support by promising Musk's ask of an audit power over our government. Israel appears to pull out of the West Bank after massively destroying Jenin. And among the dead, it leaves in its wake one American citizen. Democratic Senate in peril as John Tester down by a reported 8 in Montana. Oof. Bush-appointed judge temporarily halts Biden's student debt relief program. Meanwhile, RFK totally abandons any pretense of a third party, calls on his supporters to vote Trump everywhere. COVID deaths in U.S. are now third week in a row, at least above 1,000, to the extent that anybody tracks this stuff anymore. I'm looking at you, government. SAG-AFTRA announces 80 games agree to terms as strike on versus video games continues. Amazon sues to dismantle the National Labor Relations Board, and an EU agency says that 2024 summer, hottest on record. All this and a lot more on today's Majority Report. Just want to, well, it's Casual Friday.
Hello.
We have no guest. I just want to read this IM right off the top of the bat. Tyrant of the Majority Report. Hello, I'm an average American investor interested in social justice. We like your work and would like to introduce you to two of my associates, Mr. A. Kalishnikov and Mr. Joseph Rusky. Please get in touch with us at your earliest convenience. Yeah, I just want to remind people that, we take blind investments from anybody, as long as we start at six figures per video. That's,
Duh.
We know. We'll discuss those terms in a bit. First, though, Donald Trump yesterday. Well, I know there's a lot of news that everybody wants to comment on, and I was going to start the show off today with my beanie on,
Right.
but I
Gotta start preparing because you can't wear that in court.
yeah.
Oh, you can't. Right.
No.
Rule against headwear. Oh, boy. Hope they don't allow cameras in.
That would be.
We don't let the Muslim women wear their.
Can you? I'm asking for a friend. Are you allowed to hire your own court illustrator?
Sketch artist?
Yeah, and send them in. I'm just curious about that.
Well, it sounds like he has some extra money around to do so. So,
Yeah.
flying around.
Some leather hack.
This is in the wake of all of the calling for Kamala Harris to come out with policy. Donald Trump wanted to show that he can talk policy too.
Oh, he's a
Now-
wonk.
Now, I got to be clear. This is it's quite clear that Kamala Harris is coming out with policies that are sort of not necessarily geared towards us, and in attempt to sort of attack to the middle. We had talked to David Sirota about this on Wednesday, but it's fairly clear, at least in the policies that she's articulated, which again, I would give mixed reviews to, that she at least knows what she's talking about and can articulate them. Here is Donald Trump at the Economic Club of New York, asked about what his child care policies are.
Oh, good.
And
This is what his campaign's been asking for. They want to make it about the issues.
Natalism?
She's a celebrity candidate with nothing to offer, so
This is a perfect opportunity
This is
for him.
great for Trump.
Now, I have to say that my son just started middle school yesterday, and it makes you reflect back on their elementary school career. And I do remember seeing some oral book reports that they gave.
Oh,
And, sometimes you can tell, like, when the kid has not read the book. You know what I mean? I don't know why I thought of that, but here's Donald Trump.
If you win in November, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Now, pause it.
Well, I would do that.
It's clear that Donald Trump was not coached on this properly, because the proper answer for Donald Trump at this point, if she says, will you commit to making child care affordability a priority, and how would you do that? The proper answer for Donald Trump at that stage is no. Next question. Because he doesn't have any other answer.
okay. Well, that
go
would be
back.
honest.
Right. Yes. No, but child care. Go ahead.
What specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. I was somebody, we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue, but I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that because look, childcare is childcare. There's something you have to have it in this country. You have to have it.
Pause it.
When you
It's
talk
true.
about-
You need to have it in this country. I mean, am I wrong?
I mean, he needs to have it.
I'm sorry. Is childcare not childcare? I think it is childcare.
He needs childcare to subsidize or like supplant his 0% child rearing skills that Donald Trump.
People need childcare. I don't know. Are you questioning that? I think I've answered that. I think childcare is childcare. So, okay. And of course, I know people who've talked about it. Someone related to me talked about it. So, childcare is childcare, and that's a good question.
Profound.
Good.
Something you have to have it in this country. You have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time, coupled with the reductions that I told you about on waste and fraud and all of the other things that are going on in our country. Because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is that I just told you about. We're going to be taking in trillions of dollars, and as much as child care is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people. But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about make America great again. We have to do it because
Way
right
to
now
tie it
we're
in.
failing.
Way to tie it
So
in.
we'll take care of it.
Anybody here from New York? Let's hear it from New York, everybody. I mean, I know what he's saying here. He actually does answer the question.
Yeah.
He's saying that he's going to jack up tariffs so much that it's going to make so much money for America and growth. Growth is good.
Mm-hmm.
That'll happen.
That is good.
That growth will happen, and we're going to tax foreign countries so much. They'll get used to it. It won't be weird. That childcare is less than that. So make America great again. There you go. That's the plan.
He can't quit the tariffs equal taxes thing, which we know that, like, yeah, when tariffs are applied in a way that makes sense, it's meant to, like, incentivize onshore manufacturing. But why is that the case? It's because when goods come over and then tariffs are applied, yes, there's, like, a fee that's collected, but the prices for average Americans on those goods go up.
And
he never addresses that piece.
The whole point of the tariffs is to discourage people from buying that product.
Yes.
Versus American-made products.
Versus a revenue-generating mechanism as the primary piece of it. That's what taxes are.
Like, the whole point of tariffs is not to raise money for the government.
Yes.
The point of tariffs is to encourage domestic production or sales of those goods that are coming in. And if you are actually raising that money on tariffs, that just means, like you say, Americans are having to pay more for it. And for whatever reason, it's not working, that there is domestic products being made.
Yes.
It's fascinating because he, on one hand, says, we're going to do the tariffs so we can compete. But for that to be a success, it necessarily means you will not collect that much on those tariffs. It's just going to prevent people from buying the product.
And he's done this. This is the same song and dance from 2016 that Mexico was going to pay for the wall. He said that too. He doesn't fundamentally understand the concept of what taxes are as revenue generating mechanisms for the government. He thinks tariffs and taxes are the exact same thing.
And here's the other problem. He has not articulated how that money that we're going to have all this extra money, it's going to pay down all the debt. There's going to be no deficits. And then childcare.
Yeah. Because of growth.
Because
Trickle down.
what's the policy? I just said it. Childcare is childcare. Need it. We'll talk a little bit more about Vance's plan for childcare, which is equally as stupid, but at least it's a plan. Like Trump's is not even a plan.
Yeah.
It's just saying it's not that expensive.
At least his answer is childcare related.
Yes, but Vance's is in many ways, and this is why Trump is smart enough to go like, I'm not going to give you a plan. I'm just going to say it's cheap. That's it. It's cheap relative to
That's
the other
actually
things.
probably a better answer politically, honestly.
When
I think
you
what
read
Vance
what
said.
Vance said, or hear it, it's going to be crazy. We'll get to that in a moment. Oh, and incidentally, we will also, we are secretly funded by people who sell products. And now we call that paid advertising. But you don't know who these sponsors are. There's no way for you to know unless I say one of our sponsors is Factor Meals. Why? Because everyone wants to grab as much enjoyment as possible late summer days, but also during the summer, I don't want to cook in my kitchen because particularly this summer, I had a problem with my AC. And as soon as I turn on my oven, I start sweating profusely. But also, look, I got to make dinner for now, just one kid, but still, I want to make him a nice meal. I want him to eat nice, and I don't want to spend a ton on takeout all the time. Well, here's your wellness goals in time for summer. Thank you to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. I finally understood the whole thing about microwave ovens, which I had never had literally for 50 years of my
The
life.
whole thing about microwave ovens.
Yeah, like you can actually get like a meal that's already ready made. You can put it in to the oven for 2 minutes and it's done.
That is the deal with
It's
them.
kind of the core proposition. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sam figured that out.
I didn't know that. I was just like, well, you can melt cheese in it, I guess. I never occurred to me. But the beauty of Factor meals is that you're gonna. It doesn't matter how busy you are. You got time to enjoy a nutritious, great tasting meal. I want to thank Factor for supporting the Majority Report, and also for making it easy for me to give my kid. Saul loves this stuff. And he's like widening his palate. What are you waiting for? Get started today. Have a feel-good week of meals ready to go. Head to factormeals.com/majority50. That's majority50. And use the code majority50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. They have 35 different meals, more than 60 add-ons to choose from. Some of the meals that Saul particularly likes: grilled chicken, mashed potatoes. They have a shredded chicken, sort of like a taco, like bowl. Loves that, and the beef bolognese, the old spaghetti.
Classic.
Yep. You can crush your wellness goals this summer with the dietitian-approved meals, ingredients that you can trust. They also have these add-ons: breakfast, dessert. Stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Saul's now getting up at 6 a.m. He's got to be at school by 7:40.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we may start doing the breakfast stuff. But they've got restaurant quality meals like filet mignon, shrimp, blackened salmon. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, no prepping, no cooking, and no cleanup. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. Head to factormeals.com/majority50. That's majority50. Use the code majority50. You'll get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code majority50 at factormeals.com/majority50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. While your subscription is active, we will put the link in the podcast and YouTube description. Also, last week during my vacation, was at the beach up in Massachusetts. I got a gig helping out a buddy of mine who's doing a show for CNN. The show is going to premiere soon, but it was a practice run. And I had done this show before. It's like comedy panel show. I don't want to give away too much about it, but it's going to be released. And it's Have I Got News for You. I think people know it. It was hosted by Roy Wood Jr. And I didn't want to take that, I'm at the beach. And so I brought my Roan shirt and suit down with me, flew back in a plane, got off the plane, went right to CNN, did the thing.
No wrinkles.
No wrinkles.
Coming right out of the
It
suitcase.
looked great.
Wow.
That's what it means to be a mighty man of valor.
Thank you. It's just I have never had clothing that is both comfortable, that is both like sort of wearable without getting all wrinkled, and looks good. And I have it now. It's Roan's Commuter Collection. It's the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man, and here's why. Roan gets you ready for any occasion with the Commuter Collection, which offers the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos. You can take the sport coats and the pants and make a suit out of it. That's what I did. You never have to worry about what to wear when you have the Roan Commuter Collection. Roan's comfortable four-way stretch fabric provides breathability and flexibility that leaves you free to enjoy what life throws your way. Doesn't matter whether it's your commute to work, if you play golf, you do a show.
If you
on
do
CNN,
that,
whatever it is. It's time to feel confident without the hassle. With Roan's wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the product. It's that easy. And they have Gold Fusion anti-odor technology. You'll be smelling fresh and clean all day. And on top of that, Roan 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether. Honestly, like almost all my dress shirts now are Roan shirts. I got the white. I got the the classic blue Oxford color, whatever that is. I don't know. I've got two different suits, and that's it. I got it all. Commuter Collection get you through any workday straight into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/majority report. Use promo code majority report. Save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/majority report. Use the code majority report. It's time to find your corner office comfort. Link in the podcast and YouTube description. And as always, you can get the free show commercial free by becoming a member at jointhemajorityreport.com. All right, let's get into this. Do you want to do let's do Vance's
It's so good too.
Oh wait a sec. We should be talking about, let's do Vance's child care, and then we'll talk about the story that I know people
that you want to talk about.
So JD Vance was on stage, Turning Points USA. Turning Points. I've heard that recently in the news.
It's odd,
Wasn't
yeah.
somebody working for Turning Points that was
Named in this federal indictment?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Anyways.
Well, I just can't even.
Charlie Kirk is interviewing JD Vance, and they are attempting again, right? Like, there's nobody in that Turning Points audience who cares about childcare. Honestly, there's nobody.
I mean,
nobody.
Yeah, they want the women in the home with childcare, please. That means that you're probably a bit of a mouthy broad going out there and making
can
big
the
bucks.
state enforce patriarchy?
I mean, it's honestly, it is completely antithetical to everything that JD Vance has been talking about. I mean, JD Vance is on record saying in about 5,000 different locations, if you are a woman who's pursuing a career, you're being sold a bill of goods. You should be at home with a family. Otherwise, your life has no meaning. I mean, that's just his.
That's his
ideology.
Policy, yeah.
But they're stuck with like, wait a second. It's not weedy enough to simply cite some form of religious fundamentalism as a policy statement. We've got to pretend like we're doing policy, and so that we can claim that Kamala Harris is not doing policy. And so Charlie Kirk asks about childcare, and the one thing that amazes me about this, I mean, just over and over again, is like, does JD Vance do no prep for any of this? Like, it just sounds like he's winging it. And it's not like he couldn't say to Charlie Kirk, Charlie, what are you going to ask me about?
Well, because this is also gesturing at something that Vance wants to employ, which is this Viktor Orban style vision of a society where, like, he tried to outflank Harris with saying, I will make the child tax credit $5,000 in the first year of a child's life. And she came out and said, okay, I raise you one, I'll do $6,000, because he doesn't mean what he says. He didn't show up to the vote for the expanded child tax credit. What he wants to do is use children as propaganda objects to sell a Christian theocratic vision for the country, which is what Orban has done, as you know, and they emulate him, where it's like using the government with tax credits and things like that to keep women in the home, and also to privilege heterosexual couples by making them subject to like these tax benefits. That's their vision, but they don't want to say that because it's a minoritarian vision, as it is for the entirety of their platform.
And here is Charlie Kirk with that question.
What can we do about lowering the cost of daycare? Hayden, obviously a working family, and it's very hard for working families to get by. How will we lower the cost of daycare?
It's such an important question, Charlie. And I think one of the things that we can do is make it easier for family models to choose, or for families to choose whatever model they want, right? So one of the ways that you might be able to relieve a little bit of pressure on people who are paying so much for daycare is make it so that you know, maybe like grandma or grandpa wants to help out a little bit more, or maybe there's an aunt or uncle that wants to help out a little bit more. If that happens, you relieve some of the pressure on all the resources that we're spending in daycare.
Pause it for 1 second. Now wait. Now the policy is what? Is the government now saying that grandma and grandpa can't provide daycare for the kids? Or is he, the interesting thing is, I would be okay with some type of like government support where you're like, we will actually subsidize grandma and grandparents were doing that.
Yeah.
Or, you know, family members. Like, you know, it's very contentious when you have family members who are taking care of like their elder parents in terms of like, you know, Medicare reimbursement and whatnot. Is he saying loosen that up? Or is he just saying, hey, man, have you thought about some of your relatives?
Because, you know, my parents love taking care of their grandkids. I don't know. I think they also like the ability to not do that and enjoy their retirement.
No. We're going to mandate. Listen, if you do it once, Grandma, you got to do it every day, starting at 8:30 a.m. I want you here.
Do you see just like the levels of conditions that need to be in place for this vision to be there? You need to live in proximity to grandparents or to uncles and aunts that are willing to do this, one that are able to do this. Like the Republicans want to raise the Social Security retirement age right now, which is a cut to Social Security, which means that grandparents are working even longer. So one, you have to be living near them. They have to be alive. They have to be willing to do so. They have to have the financial means to be able to take care of your kids without having to work. And you have to have a good relationship with them. And like that does not apply to a majority of people.
But here's the thing. If the conditions were right anyways, people are doing this.
Yes.
It's not like somebody's at home watching TV going like,
I never thought about that.
Holy crap.
Right.
Of course. In fact, my folks live with us. Why didn't we ask them, honey, what's wrong with us?
Oh.
JD Vance has just shown us the light.
Silicon Valley, baby, coming up with all the innovation.
Yeah, total disruptor, this dude.
model they want, right? So one of the ways that you might be able to relieve a little bit of pressure on people who are paying so much for daycare is make it so that maybe like grandma or grandpa wants to help out a little bit more.
Oh,
or maybe there's an
okay.
aunt or uncle that wants to help out a little bit more. If that happens, you relieve some of the pressure on all the resources that we're spending in daycare. Now, you talk about just daycare. Let's say you don't have somebody who can provide that extra set of hands.
Pause it. No, now we're getting into it. This guy's a deep thinker. Yeah, maybe you haven't thought about having your relatives take care of your kids. And if you haven't thought about that, you should think about it. But in the rare instance that can't happen, here's my idea.
Let's say you don't have somebody who can provide that extra set of hands. What we've got to do is actually empower people to get trained in the skills that they need for the 21st century. We've got a lot of people who love kids, who would love to take care of kids.
Pause it. Incidentally, I just want to go back a little bit. Like, you can tell this guy's never even given this topic one iota of thought, because the issue with childcare, not just a 21st century position. I just want you to know
it hasn't been modernized enough.
No, it's like, yeah, childcare. Like, we need to have robots do it.
Mm-hmm.
What is he talking about? We need to train people for 21st century skills. Childcare is not a 21st century skill. We actually need it in the 20th century too. I believe
also, this. It's a quarter over the 21st century. Can we retire that?
It's so silly. But I remember when I was touring, when I first started doing this job in 2016, when I think we might have been in Pennsylvania or Michigan. This is when I kind of figured that Hillary had a good chance of losing. But we were interviewing people, including childcare workers. And I remember this one particular woman saying that basically it's a struggle for her to stay out of poverty. And she's a full-time childcare worker, and she works crazy hours, double shifts, and things like that.
Well, maybe that's what he's going to offer.
He's going to offer higher pay for them.
Extensive job training and maybe a universal child care program like we actually had in the American Rescue Act, where we were subsidizing thousands of child care facilities across the country. We rolled that back. That's why this is actually an issue now. It got rolled back because in Build Back Better, it was cut out to deal with Sinema and Manchin and stooges like his colleagues in the Republican Senate. But here it is. Here's the big, he's going to come in with some funding, I bet.
Actually empower people to get trained in the skills that they need for the 21st century. We've got a lot of people who love kids, who would love to take care of kids, but they can't, either because they don't have access to the education that they need, or maybe more importantly, because the state government says you're not allowed to take care of children unless you have some ridiculous certification that has nothing to do with taking care of kids.
All right, pause it right there. I want you to, do we have that link? This is from Monroe College this is New York State, right?
Oh, I'm blinded by the red tape.
Child care training, professional development for licensed and registered programs. Now, if you're a parent, you probably understand why you might, if you're going to hand off your kid
this red tape
to a facility, you're going to want something there. Now, in New York State, I believe it is, if you have a child care where you're just taking care of 3 kids, or less, you don't need any of this. But if it's more, you need, and this is pretty onerous stuff. Let's go down. What are the New York State requirements? Roles and training. Okay, if you're a child daycare provider, your role is to attend training and keep accurate records, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, what is needed to, the training credits are, keep going down. Where was that? 30 hours. You need of training. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. Upon request from the office, you must be able to show proof of compliance with 30 hours of training needed in a 2-year period.
Well, I just can't even.
So you could do the math, an hour and 15 minutes a month of training to be qualified, but you need to have proof. And you have 2 documents, 2 forms to track your program and see the individual hours.
I thought the Republicans.
Now, you can also have credential programs where you can get a child development associate credential, which is the most widely recognized credential in early childhood education. And that's a career of advancement in early childhood education. But you don't need that for daycare. You can get a program administrator credential if you want to set up your own daycare. But if you need to just work in a daycare facility, all you need to do is do that 30 hours worth of training.
I thought that the Republicans are the ones that wanted to protect children. So they want less regulations in daycare. Do people remember?
They also have background checks.
I forgot about that.
You have background checks.
Do you remember
to make sure that you've not been fired from different places, or that you have any type of offense in terms? I mean,
I remember reading about this. I wasn't alive for this, but the McMartin preschool trial, which was that satanic panic trial in the 1980s, where the entire right was obsessed with the idea that ritualistic sexual abuse was happening to children at daycare facilities. This was a right-wing driven hysteria. Now, Republicans would never do that, right? In the modern day, in 2024, they would never have conspiracy theories about children being preyed upon by people in schools or things like that.
No, but in pizza stores.
Oh, that's also, I did hear about that one thing. But they would never, in the year 2024 or 2023, make entire presidential campaigns about children being groomed or molested in schools or anything like that. How is this compatible, this vision? Well, it is. It's because it's libertarianism and they don't want to think about raising money to actually make people's lives better via taxation. But this is not a compatible vision with the protect children idea from the Republicans.
No.
Do we have more 20 more seconds?
Ridiculous certification that has nothing to do with taking care of kids. So empower people to get the skills they need. Don't force every early child care specialist to go and get a 6-year college degree where they've got a whole lot of debt and Americans are much poorer because they're paying out the wazoo for daycare. Empower working families, empower people who want to do these things for a living, and that's what we got to do.
All right,
Empowered. Amazing.
Empower them by cutting
We're doing nothing.
standards.
Doing nothing. First of all, he's making up the standards. I mean, maybe it's different in some other state. Maybe California or Massachusetts has stricter requirements than New York State. But I am willing to bet everything I own that the state of Tennessee, for instance, does not have stricter requirements than New York State.
Yeah.
With all due respect to Tennessee. Speaking of Tennessee,
that goes so far beyond the pale. I just can't even.
I mean, I know you talked about this story yesterday, but we
weren't really able to go as in depth. So I think this is the time where we really we zero in.
The DOJ announced yesterday in a 34-page, indictment? 32-page indictment. I have it here in front of me. That a sealed indictment. Now, I also want to be clear. Despite what I guess Tim and Dave Rubin put out there in their really surprisingly similar tweets about this, was that this document was not leaked. It was unsealed. So it wasn't like anybody was leaking it in an improper manner. It was unsealed by the DOJ because they're going public with these charges. And it was a grand jury that is charging 2 individuals. And for the life of me, I'm barely going to be able to pronounce their name, but Konstantinian Kalishnikov and Elena Afanasyevagieva.
Well done.
Thank you. And they apparently 2 Russian nationals, I believe, but former RT employees, apparently set up an enterprise in which Russian money was sent to them, and they posed as somebody different.
Mm-hmm.
And they essentially hired 2 principal executives believed now to be, was it Laura Chen?
Lauren Chen, who is a now former, as of yesterday, Blaze TV employee, that's Glenn Beck's outfit, or at least contractor, a more low-level conservative personality who also was on the business side.
And her husband, I think they're both Canadian nationals. I'm not 100% sure of that, but they're not American nationals, according to this indictment. And they went on to hire some well-known conservative influencer type, political commentator types.
Anyone we ever heard of?
Well, that's the funny part. It turns out one of those people, known in the now unsealed indictment, is commentator one, and that guy is Dave Rubin. Yeah. Remember that like a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was a month or two ago, and I don't know if we did this on air, but I remember asking Matt, like, how does Dave Rubin make any money? Like, who is watching him now? He's not doing that well on YouTube. Nothing happens on Rumble. He probably got some money up front to go on to Rumble, but that has to have run out. Like, how is this guy, is he even on Blaze TV anymore? Because they don't seem to promote it. And ever since the Blaze TV people found out that Dave Rubin was gay and was adopting a child or two childs, or not adopting, basically
children
having
via
surrogate. It seemed like his audience had dried up, but yet he's got this new studio down in Florida where you don't have to pay income tax.
It is funny that he just returned from his month-long unplug from the news.
Yeah.
This happened.
And
must be stressful.
The other commentator was a guy named Tim Pool. Let's talk about Dave first.
Okay.
Because apparently in February of 2023, Chen and her husband started to go out to commentators. Now, I'll give my assessment of this in a moment. But just the TikTok. And they start to negotiate with Tim Pool and Dave Rubin, among others. Apparently, Lauren Southern's involved in this. Some dude, Matt Christensen, I've never heard of him. I don't know. Did they confirm that Benny Johnson's involved in this?
It appears that initially there was confusion about who commentator one was because they were identified by subscriber accounts. And Rubin and Benny Johnson have similar subscriber counts. Eric Toller said it was Benny Johnson at first, but it seems like a preponderance of the evidence has now shown that that is actually Dave Rubin, not Benny Johnson.
Right. So February 2023, they start negotiations, at least with Rubin and Poole. Let's just stick with them because it's pretty clear, at the very least, that they have said that they were both victimized by this.
They're victims. They took a lot of money and they're victims.
They're victims. They start to negotiate and they go like, this is a lot of money you're talking about giving us. Who is in charge of this whole thing? And so the founder duo, Chen et al. Said, oh, it's a guy named Edward Gregorian. Really? Yeah, Edward Gregorian. Oh, who's he? Oh, he's from Belgium. Oh, that is a very, very distant country. Oh, yeah.
International.
International.
And he has a dynamic presence in both Brussels and London.
And he's setting up this company called Tenet. And it's going to be a YouTube channel.
Do you see he's in a private plane here?
Well, now hold on, because this isn't developed like right off the bat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Now they start negotiating. Rubin says, I'm not doing it for less than $5 million a year. Now, let me just say, that's a lot of money. I mean, particularly in this business.
Yeah.
$5 million a year is a lot of money. That is not money. We do not come very close to generating that as.
Could hire a giant team of people with that,
$5
or
million.
just buy a new house.
Yeah.
And they start to negotiate, and ultimately they give Dave Rubin $400,000 a month for, you ready for this? It's not like this is just some type of gift. 4 videos a month.
You're playing the game called capitalism.
That also comes with a $100,000 signing bonus, and then some type of like bonuses that maybe have been performance related. It's unclear. And at one point, Rubin says like, and then with Tim Pool, they give him $100,000. Now, Rubin's videos, I think he owned the rights to them, but I think they had exclusivity on Tenet based upon the indictment. With Tim Pool, it was just a license deal where I'll make videos $100,000 per video. Now, they paid out something like $8.7 million between the two of them. And we know that Rubin started this. They signed the deal in June of 2023. They're negotiating from February to June. And both these guys apparently were, for them, curious and inquisitive as to where is this money coming from. Because I got news for you folks. Like, I've done deals sort of like this, a licensing deal with a very prominent cable company in America.
Streaming outlet.
And the figures were nowhere remotely close to these figures. Like, not even, I don't know what exponentially less. And I thought like, whoa, I can't believe I'm getting paid this.
And that's a big corporation, I must say.
Apparently, MSNBC is a big corporation. It's owned by a big corporate behemoth. And so if somebody was offering me this type of money,
yeah,
I'm not saying I'd turn it down, but I'd be really curious as where it's coming from. And they were curious. And so what did they do? They Googled, who is this Edward Gregorian who wants to pay me $400,000 a month for 4 videos a month?
Mm-hmm. $100,000 a week.
$100,000 a video
per week, right?
Well, yeah,
sure.
This isn't a freebie. I've got an obligation. I've got to deliver that video each week. That's hard. So they Google, they don't find anything, and they go, "Hey, we Googled, we didn't find anything." And they go, okay, hold on. And so the owners of this company, presumably, or the Russian handlers, they produce this slick thing that you could never ever
flyer
produce unless you had, the ability to pay for $100,000.
Who needs a long form birth certificate?
Look at the size.
This?
Pop this up. Look at the size of that window. I mean, this is a big ass private plane he's on.
Yeah. I think we covered this before, that in Russia there actually are companies that you can pay a fee to for the day to take a photo shoot on private airplanes.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually a very successful.
That's everywhere. People do that for their
influencers.
People do that for their Instagrams and stuff like that. So, okay, here it is. Edward Gregorian, experienced finance professional and investor, deeply engaged in business and philanthropy, leveraging skills and resources to drive positive impact.
Damn.
Supporting a range of organizations worldwide with a dynamic presence, mainly in Brussels and London. Now, those are 2 big cities, Brussels and London. I'm sure many of you have heard of them.
Bustling.
Engaging in personal and professional pursuits in each location with a focus on poverty alleviation, championing free speech, and advocating for social justice causes. Just remember that those last 3 lines there, because that's going to play a part here. But then they go on to give his CV, which means a
curriculum vitae.
Yes, it's like a resume, which is like a
For Europeans.
Yes. And life and education, born in Brussels, and bachelor degree in economics and management at blankety blank. Now, the reason why that's blacked out is because it's a real place. Because it was a fake place. When they released this in the indictment, they wouldn't black it out because it would say, Jim Hopkins University or something, or, Harvard, or,
Right.
Blue University or something.
I would guess
or,
as the London School of Finance would be my guess at it, but who knows?
It could be, who knows? Cum laude. Now, if I see that this guy went to, let's say it's London School of Economics and graduated cum laude, I know, I bet you London School of Economics cum laude is published.
Right. If you get an award like that from a prestigious school, and we don't know if it's London School of Economics.
I'm just guessing.
They register
I'm
that
just going to
stuff.
throw that in there. And let's see. We could probably look that up. I mean, in fact, if I was the type of person who could, let's say, buy a skate park or wasn't paying any income tax in Florida, I would say, you know what? I'm going to pay for a service because I could make $5 million in a year, but maybe I'm going to spend, I don't know, $400 to just hire somebody to check this out. Now, you can go and for $35, you can go and get like a subscription to like whatever it is, been verified or something like that, and Spokio, and find out what the deal is. But then this guy gets the Masters of Accounting and worked at the blank while working as a junior investment banking analyst at. Now, those are blacked out too because they're real places. And you could Google, like let's, for instance, JD, like I don't know, who is somebody that worked at Goldman Sachs? Who is that? Who?
The governor of
Phil Murphy, like the governor of New Jersey.
Okay, yeah, Phil Murphy.
Other Goldman Sachs governor of New Jersey, John Corzine.
Goldman Sachs. Let's see if that comes up. Or, even, I mean, it will, I guess, because Phil Murphy, let's see, Goldman Sachs. Well, these are all stories about him.
Well, he's a politician, but
he's a politician.
Anybody who has ever been on a dating app, okay, and you want to look up the person that, say, you're going to meet up with them for drinks, and you want to make sure they're a real person. You just go on their LinkedIn and you Google them and where apparently they're from. You can see where they worked, and that would be more due diligence.
Okay.
Than seemingly was exercised here.
But I think they did Google him.
Okay.
And they said they couldn't find anything about it. That's why they came up with this document. And then they said, he's very private.
In that
And there's
instance,
a
I
couple of
canceled
things.
the date.
Relocated to Singapore through blank to work with blank, blank,
Right.
blank, 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 bank one, bank two, various positions, bank one, various positions. The point is, if you're looking to make that kind of money and you have questions enough that you're Googling, it's answered by a single piece of paper. It is if you are a complete fraud at what you do. Because if you're Googling to find these answers, there's some questions there. And if there are some questions there, you couldn't find anything because there's no answers there. So you don't go and say, well, I'm going to do even more due diligence. No, you quit. And the one thing that you say, if you are Dave Rubin, after they give you this document, is not like, hey, man, I can't verify any of this stuff. But I see it's in print. But I do have one question that I'm a little bit suspicious of.
Yeah.
What's this whole thing about advocating for social justice causes? That is what Dave Rubin asked about. Not about any of the other stuff. He had a problem with the profile we sent over, specifically the reference to social justice, which persona one, that commentator one, I should say that Founder One reported to the Russians who were pretending to be whatever, Claude Jabashabajan, or whatever the guy's name is.
That Rubin, who is commentator one, had, quote, a problem with the profile we sent over, specifically the reference to social justice.
It's beautiful. His dumb principles almost got in the way of a bag.
Exactly.
I think it may be because that's usually a term used by liberals, but we're trying to create a conservative network.
That's it.
So then they suggested that they could have a conference call to make sure that they iron out their ideological differences with Edward Gregorian.
In Europe, it means something very different. This is me, Gregorian.
But this part is also amazing. So they set up a call to speak because he's concerned about social justice in the profile. Do you want to take this, Sam?
Yeah. And so Gregorian, who is the fake guy, circulated an email to Founder One and Commentator One, right? CCs, even though Founder One and Founder Two apparently knew that this guy was not from Belgium, but was from Russia, because when they didn't get their check, they tried to email, didn't hear back, and then Googled the time in Russia to find out, like, oh no, they're asleep right now. They're not going to respond to us. Even though that they sort of did not know that they were in Russia. Okay? Just to be clear. Now, for whatever reason, Founder One and Founder Two, Chen and her husband, have not been charged at this juncture. So Gregorian circulated an email to Founder One and to Commentator One's
Rubin.
assistant, scheduling a Zoom meeting for 5 p.m. Paris that day. They had already established that Edward Gregorian was based in Paris. At approximately 8:58 a.m. Central Time that day, Edward Gregorian replied to his earlier email, "I'm there, guys, waiting on the Zoom." The time, in fact, was 3:58 in Paris, but it was 4:58 in Moscow. So 2 minutes later, Edward Gregorian performed a Google search for the time in Paris. And Edward Gregorian then replied again to his email part, "Sorry, wrong hour. Didn't sync the calendar."
I hate when I
are
don't
you
sync the
sure?
calendar and I forget if I'm in Paris or Moscow.
I mean, he's such a jet setter.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know where he is. He could wake up in Moscow. Could you see from the private
The
plane?
bottom line is that, look, there's a couple of things that I think go to the top of this indictment. Where is this? Okay. There's a couple of things that you can take from this. One is, as stated in the press release, actually. Can you go to the press release? Can you find that press release? I think I got it somewhere around here, but I can't find it right now. There's a couple of things to take away from this. First is, I've heard some crank say, this is all about, Russia, whatever it is. Now, I don't really, I'm not in any way surprised that Russia is trying to, influence the election or undermine the cohesiveness of our society or whatever it is. I don't think Russia's the only country that does that. I could name probably 3 or 4 off the top of my head that I have heard engage in these things.
Israel, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, how many think tanks are with Saudi money?
Oh, yeah. Iran, in some instances, China, probably. I would also bet that for every country I could name, the United States does the same thing, but double or triple the number of those countries, or quadruple.
Similar method, too, I think.
So this story is less, to me, about, sort of like Russia trying to influence our election. However, I have seen some blowhards out there say, $10 million, this is nothing. I can't believe we're making a mountain out of a mountain. I got news for you. The idea that Russia's only spending $10 million and they're like, like, we have $10 million to spend to influence America. Where will we spend it? I know. Get Chen on the line and see if she can get Rubin and Tim Pool, if it's possible, with $10 billion. I mean, no,
Tell
of
Rubin
course.
that social justice doesn't
And I
matter.
think I think they even reference it in the at one point. There's a reference to this is part of like an entire operation, but just one silo of an entire operation. Okay, yeah, here it is. I can't remember where it is, but the point is that there's no way this is the extent of that program. You don't spend only $10 million and not put greater checks on it than giving $5 million to Dave Rubin, for God's sakes. If it's happening with these guys, you know it's happening in many, many other areas, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, television, in Congress, who knows? I mean, the controls that they placed on this $10 million and what they got in return, so sloppy that it really gives you a sense of like, these guys are running many, many operations like this. Of course they are. And the issue for me still is even less about like, how is Russia influencing our election in this instance? The issue is, can you trust people like Tim Pool and Dave Rubin who are going to take this much money and not even do the slightest bit of due diligence as to where it's coming from? They were duped, just like Joe Rogan's duped by, there's kitty litter in classrooms. It's because these people don't give a shit about what they put out there.
Yep.
This money they didn't take bribes to say stuff. Although there is a scenario where I could make an argument that they were fashioning some of their material, but we can talk about that in a moment. This is much more equivalent to Clarence Thomas going around going like, I don't know if I can stay on the Supreme Court in 2004, 2005. Going to Leonard Leo and say, I don't know if I can afford to do this. And then Leonard Leo introducing him to his new best friend, Harlan Crow. And then all of a sudden they're best buddies for the next 20 years. And Clarence Thomas has no more money issues because this is a private school paid for his kid. He has his parents' house bought. He goes on all the trips he could ever want, private jets, living in luxury, on and on and on. This is to make sure that Dave Rubin, for instance, who I would be willing to wager that $5 million that he's gotten over the past year plus is his biggest source of income and revenue for his program. He may be making some money on his, locals membership, although I imagine that's died off.
Relationships, right? Because it's not just Russia. When we talk about independent media, how many corporations are just, this is peanuts for them to throw things out there to basically just incentivize certain commentary. Yep.
If you're taking this money from Edouard Gregorian in Belgium, of all places, you're not going to take money from the Mercers?
Peter Thiel.
You're not going to take money from Peter Thiel or David Sachs or Sachs or whatever that guy's name is? These people are inveterate liars. And when Tim Pool claims I don't have any investors, damn straight you don't, because investors implies they want something back. You just have these patrons who are out there who know that you're doing the bidding of extremely wealthy people. If somebody was to come to me and say, I want to give you $400,000 $400,000 a month to do what you're doing. I got news for you. I would be talking to attorneys. I would be talking, there's something really wrong here.
Right.
I've been doing this for 15 years. And like when we had a patron once at the beginning of this show who gave $1,000 a month through what I thought was a joke membership, the Sam Seder membership, where you actually get to be me and I go to, Tulum, Mexico.
Yeah.
And you do the show. And I put it out there and it was like, whoa, this is amazing. And I Googled it and I just found like, this is just the guy who apparently is like, really helpful to the show. And it lasted for, I think, about 16, 18 months. I was very conscious of it, but I never got an email about like, you should do this and that. I didn't, it was just like, I could tell you his first name and that was it. And even then I'm like, I'm
suspicious.
a little nervous about this. Like, what is somebody gives you $1,000 a month. Like, what is it they're going to ask for return? Now that may be a little bit overly sensitive, but if somebody came in $400,000 a month, I would be like, this would be great, but I ain't messing with this. And the reason why they were able to do it so easily, I think, and the reason why they even started $5 million, the reason why, think about like what it takes to ask for, I want $5 million for one video a week. It's because you've been down this road before.
Yeah.
It's because you know what people are willing to pay you without return. There is no way Rubin thought, oh, they're going to recoup their $100,000 a pop. There's no way. And
love ideas.
There's no way he thought but I'm going to end up I'm going to grow this company. He's got his own enterprise. There's no way. When Peacock came to me, I was like, I understood what the calculation was. They can get my show and it's cheap relative to them producing their own show. And I've been a contributor on that. I was a contributor on MSNBC. I had sub-hosted. I'm a known commodity, but I'm also really cheap for them.
Right.
And so it made sense to me. Okay, I get it why they're doing this. They had no editorial control. They had nothing over what I was going to say. But I'm like, they don't, they know the parameters of what I talk about. They never paid attention to any of the politics we did. They didn't even notice it when I had the executive director of the union that was unionizing both those things on both the shows that we were doing. They never paid attention to that. They were really more concerned about don't make fun of our hosts or whatever it was. But if you're asking for $5 million annually for 48 videos that you're going to do over the course of a year, you've been down this road before. And so let's play this clip from when, in
15 here. I think you labeled it 13.
This is Tim Pool talking about how bad of a businessman I am. True. But how he doesn't have any investors. Now, let's be clear. Edward the Regordian is not an investor. He's just the dude who's throwing money at him for seemingly no reason. And Tim's deal, incidentally, was a non-exclusive license. If you are as bad a businessman as I am, if I get somebody who's paying me $100,000 for a video that I can post somewhere else, simultaneously,
and not have to send him back any money for that video, right? It's just a flat fee, and then I can post it elsewhere.
It's just a license. It's a non-exclusive license. I understood when the Majority Report was licensed on Peacock, they wanted to play at night. I'm like, they need to fill programming with something cheap that is, so that people who are watching other programs on their network don't turn away and it's there. But the idea that my YouTube viewers are going to go on to Peacock and watch it, that's absurd. There's no way they could believe that. And so Tim Pool, I think, is intelligent enough to know that. Now, here he is in June. When were you on?
So this is June 23rd. Yes. So of 2023.
Wait, June 2023. Oh, I know why that date sticks out for me.
Yeah.
Because that's the month that Tim Pool closed on this deal in the first weeks of June, according to this indictment.
I think it was at least a week or 10 days before this conversation that we had.
Interesting.
Well, I just can't even.
He knows at this point that he's going to be getting $100,000 a video for a non-exclusive license. Incidentally, there's another way you can get a non-exclusive license to Tim Pool's videos that he puts out, and that is to embed them on your website.
You could do that.
You could do that. In fact, we have a non-exclusive license to play this clip right here. This is $100,000. He knows he's getting it from this Belgium guy,
Gregorian,
who knows anything. And he has the audacity to say this to you.
I actually don't think that whatever this space has more money because this is a fraction.
Oh, no, pause it. I want to go back a little bit earlier because you say, and this is the whole point, these people are subsidized. They were subsidized on radio, and it was either through like Hillsdale College will be advertising all this, or I'm going to give you an extra, column on Town Hall, and I'm going to pay you $200,000 for a column on Town Hall. These people have been subsidized since the advent of right-wing talk radio. They are subsidized.
Yep.
They are paid money, exorbitant sums of money without any expectation of return in terms of financial. The return just comes and you keep doing what you're doing. And Tim Pool was stumbled on this before where he knew you could do this type of thing, right? Did you play that video yesterday where he said somebody could come in and pour all this money into Google AdSense and subsidize your show and nobody would ever see the traces of it?
We didn't play that.
We played the OnlyFans.
He said that in the past.
Yeah, I saw the AdSense thing. We can maybe find that.
Yeah. He said that in the past.
This was more direct, Tim.
But this is Tim responding to Emma saying there's a lot more money in there. I got news for you.
This is like 5 minutes into the interview, too.
I have never, ever, ever, ever been approached by anyone. I've never even gotten the offer from like Soros or I don't even know who else would be out there for anything even remotely like this. Again, I had one subscriber once who gave $1,000 a month for 16 months at the beginning of this show. Made a big difference. And I had one other fan from Air America, and she gave, I think, like probably what broke down to $3,000 over, for 2 or 3 years in a row, like annually. And then we had somebody who donated computers, but no, they're not. This does not exist on the left. It does not even remotely close. Good.
Clicks. I mean, the dude's got like 170 videos about Dave Rubin.
Yeah, we do cover that. I mean, I think part of what we do is we try to respond to some of the right-wing ecosystem on the internet because there's a vacuum truly left. You guys have a lot more money than the left-wing media space. We just try to combat it a little bit.
I think the issue with that, I can understand why you'd say that, but it looks like this is a great way to kick off the show, actually, like the start of the culture war. I actually don't think that whatever this space has more money because this is a fractured independent space of varying ideologies.
Tim, I'm in your compound right now.
Yeah, I'm rich.
I live in a one-bedroom. I mean, how did you get rich?
I started a website, took memberships, sold ads on videos.
Yeah, but the reason that you
pause it for 1 second.
That we don't.
He literally just signed a deal for $100,000 non-exclusive license on per video. And that it's not even in the forefront of his head at that point.
Edward Gregorian got
I forgot about that.
One of those special memberships.
But Matt pointed this out.
Gregorian.
Did you catch how he defends Dave Rubin right off the rip?
Oh yeah,
Stablemate at Tenet Media.
Oh,
In this fractured
interesting.
space.
That's when they had just done that, right? Now, was Culture War the show that they did on Tenet? Oh, so this show, wait.
It is that show. It is the show.
Oh.
That goes so far beyond the pale. I just can't even.
Wow.
So to be clear, Culture War, Bradley, can you clarify this was the one that was subsidized by Gregorian?
He says this on his show that he did yesterday, that it was the Culture War that was the licensing agreement was for Tenet with the Culture
Which
War.
was so
non-exclusive licensing deal. That's a big difference because you know that you're going to be able to exploit it to its hilt. And you're getting an extra $100,000 subsidy for it just to be reposted on some other channel.
For this show in particular. So I was either the first or second guest on the show after it began to be subsidized.
Right.
By
exactly.
the Culture War.
Yep.
This specific show, which is the same as his other show.
So they
but
paid
it's
for your
called the
travel,
Culture
right?
War. Paid for my travel, paid for my hotel.
I wonder if they were more generous with maybe other guests of the Culture War than what you got.
Oh, you mean paid directly?
Yeah.
Probably not.
No? You don't think
Probably not. I doubt. But I mean, maybe a nicer.
Might have been a nicer hotel
Maybe,
than I got.
Right.
maybe a full omakase.
Maybe a non-motel.
Instead of just instead of just like the sushi sashimi assortment or whatever it is.
Tips sold ads on videos.
Yeah, but the reason that you get ads and that we don't is because you more adequately serve capitalism and we challenge it.
We get our ads pulled. What do you mean? There's whole organizations dedicated to getting all of our ads removed.
Right, but the proof is in the pudding and where I'm sitting right now.
So this is memberships. This is almost entirely because people pay to become members of our websites.
Pause it. Almost entirely, except for the $100,000 I'm getting just to non-exclusive license this very video that we're doing right now, Emma, is what he would have said if he was even the slightest bit truthful.
Right, because we do memberships, Tim, actually. You're not giving us any info on that. What else? What other secret sauce do you got in this little business?
Almost entirely because people pay to become members of our websites. If the Majority Report, you guys have been around a lot longer than I have.
Mm-hmm.
The inability to provide a product to a customer does not mean that one political faction has more or is granted more because of capitalism or anything like that. Like if Sam is unable to, Sam's had way more subscribers than me for a long, long time.
Right.
And and I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm saying if he doesn't know how to turn revenue, the issue is more so you need a COO or somebody who's going to say, here's how we provide something to a market that generates revenue so we can expand our business.
In other words, I've learned now from the business expert, Tim Pool, I need to appeal to some Belgian mystery man, that I have something that you want. It is amazing that he's saying this literally within days of having signed this document, this contract for that money.
For this show, too.
For
the show I'm
he's
on.
actually talking on. Now, I also don't know that it's actually the case that we've had more subscribers than he did on YouTube anyways.
He started on Occupy, which is around the time this sort of modern version of the show started, the Post-Air America. So it's actually kind of similar.
But we didn't,
YouTube didn't restart.
We didn't have more than a couple 100,000. We got most of our viewers, our subscribers, really almost around the time you came.
Well, there was 35,000 subscribers on YouTube in 2015.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not sure that we had that many more subscribers, but also subscribers doesn't mean revenue.
Right, exactly.
It's a lot. The more subscribers you have, the more revenue opportunities you have. Definitely.
How do you know that without having a COO?
Yeah, where's the COO at? I gotta have a word with him.
Well, my CEO is he lives in France.
Oh.
Yes, he's at Paris time. And part of the problem is that I can never know what time it is there.
Yeah.
And so I never contact him.
They have the daylight savings issue, right?
Sebwell's calendar does not sync up properly.
So let's just be clear here. We know that Rubin and Tim Pool did virtually no due diligence on this. And then you have to ask why. The reasons are, one,
They don't do
they're
anything.
idiots. Two, they never do due diligence on anything that comes across their desk. But also, maybe it didn't seem that strange to them that someone was going to pay such exorbitant amounts of money. Like, I know what they'll make on a video that gets 1 million views, and it ain't $100,000. It ain't close to $100,000. In fact, I think like the biggest,
Not even 10,000.
It's not even $10,000. And they know that because they believe me. They have COOs or whatever it is. So what has happened in their business history that led them to believe this is not so out of the ordinary that I've got to have any like sirens going off, that I can actually get 100,000 of video from this guy? And I would suspect, I don't know for sure, but they haven't talked about it, that they've had deals like this in the past because there is a tremendous amount of right-wing money out there that doesn't need a financial return on this. Their return comes in creating it just comes in having people fighting on their behalf in the information wars. That stuff, and if that's not true, if Tim Pool wants to say that that's not true, I'd love to see some evidence of that. Like, I'd love to hear, I'd love to interview Tim about this, or Dave Rubin for that matter, and explain to me like why this wasn't suspicious to you. Why this wasn't the slightest bit suspicious that like, oh, well, I've seen a printed document, so therefore, of course, this guy's going to give me $100,000 of video for over a year, for over, 50, 140 video, whatever the hell. I mean, it's insane, the money that they were getting. And then the other thing, I'll say this. We know that Chen must have had some type of relationship with Tim and Dave Rubin. Mm-hmm. And the founders clearly knew that the money was coming from Russia. Mm-hmm. That we know in the indictment, that they were Googling what time is it in Russia when they weren't getting a response on.
And regularly referred to them as the Russians in their correspondence.
Yeah. It is, they knew this despite the fact that supposedly they were told it was not Russians, right? And Dave and Tim Pool are claiming they're victims. People can decide for themselves if they didn't speculate as to where this money came from.
I'd love to be victimized by hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Let's play this clip. Do you have that clip of yeah, this is way back when. 2020. Rocco Castoro, I guess, is somebody who worked for Tim Pool. Tim Pool already knew one of the mechanisms in which you could do this. Now, I think ultimately Tim Pool realized, like, I don't even need a mechanism. But this is subsidizing these guys. Never mind, like, influencing what they say or don't say. Like, who knows? I know Tim Pool, just 2 weeks ago, was doing a video where Ukraine is the enemy, et cetera, et cetera. Who knows if, he thought contract negotiations were coming up or he had any idea. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're on a trajectory. They stay on that trajectory because it's bringing in money that they don't have to account for. The idea that you're on basically ratings are irrelevant, returns are irrelevant, we're just going to keep giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Tim Pool understood these mechanisms. He's thinking about this back in 4 years ago. Play this clip.
So what happens with social media, particularly YouTube, where it's really easy,
You can have a foreign agent or even the government or some corporation or whatever say, this guy talks about things that we really like. Dump ad money into his channel through Google AdSense, and they'll never know we were the ones funding him, and you can't prove it.
So do you think you think that's something like YouTube should be looking into, or somebody should audit YouTube for that kind of information?
Definitely.
If it's foreign?
You think YouTube's in on it?
I don't think YouTube's in on it. I think YouTube doesn't care.
Yeah, 'cause
And
it
as
serves
long
their
as
goal.
journalists don't call them out for it, they're not going to say anything.
That's going to cause another adpocalypse. Are you ready
That's
for that?
that's the big problem. But I think I've said it a million times. If they announced that they were going to like ban Twitter, I would lose my account. I'd be like, dude, Twitter's terrible.
Yeah, it
get rid
is.
of it. Just get rid of it.
bad
I'm
for
half
humanity.
kidding. Like,
No, it's bad for us.
you know, but if I found out that someone was secretly funneling money through AdSense to my channel, I'd be like, cut it all off. I don't care.
Well,
I'll go
I
sleep in a
might
ditch.
have some news for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've looked at we kind of addressed this with you the last board meeting we had about certain sites like syphilisdating.com and
So it's nice. Don't go to
nothing
it.
to
by
do
the
with
way.
it.
Don't go to
Sounds
any of these
wonderful.
sites that we talked about.
well,
you don't
it
need to.
does because it lists
What? Hilarious.
Well, let's just let it play out.
your
heck?
brother and you as the owner. And there's a series of 55 URLs like antifahub.org.
Oh,
A
interesting.
lot of them are packed with malware. A lot of them are packed with they have security reports.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with me
I
or
don't
YouTube?
know. I'm saying I
Yeah.
don't know, but you should look into it.
Oh, so he wasn't doing a joke. He was just being paranoid.
Yeah, exactly. But here's he is talking about the model here. They can subsidize. Now, in this instance, he's talking about doing it through Google AdSense. But look, dollar for dollar, this is what they've done. They just cut out the Google AdSense.
Yeah, why give Google a cut?
Yeah,
Why
that-
give Google a cut? I'll
too
just give the
much,
money directly to Tim. And all we need to do is the slightest bit of pretense so that he has plausible deniability.
And Google might have to actually, I don't know, respond to inquiries about where that money is coming from if they flag any irregularities,
Probably now,
as opposed to going through a very nascent company based in Tennessee that is run by right-wing activists. So,
Well, there it is. Now, I imagine, I don't know if this money gets confiscated, but I certainly would imagine, as we just heard Tim Pool say, he would never want to take money in that fashion from a source. And so I am looking forward to Tim Pool giving back this money. Maybe he spent it all on a skate park.
Yeah, what he should have said was this.
You can't,
Oh, there it is.
you can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day.
I said that to Matt the other day. That was from his Elon Musk call. Very good.
Geez.
Very good.
I was wondering, why does it sound like it's Daffy Duck?
It's gonna be. You can't do
You
it,
can't do it,
Vladimir.
Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day.
It's going to be a bad day. All right, we're going to head into the fun half.
So good.
Edward Gregorian's out there at patreon.com/leftreckoning. Unlike Sam, I'm not going to ask questions. Just, yeah.
Dump it in there.
if it's a foreign name, Jean-Claude Rousseau or something, oh my God.
So sophisticated.
But I mean, honestly, this is the real story here is that they thought they could get this money.
Yeah.
Because I got news for you. If somebody came to me, what has to have happened in my past that I think I can get $400,000 a month for 4 videos? What deals have I made in the past knowing that there's no way they're going to recoup this? I'm sorry. I don't care how rich Dave Rubin is or Tim Pool is. They're not going to walk away from $25,000 a video for a non-exclusive license. Are you kidding me? An extra $100,000 a month?
I mean,
But they started off at $5 million, according to the
in the indictments. I mean, they were apparently the communication said they wouldn't accept anything less than basically millions a year. So that's do you start to your point, if this is the first time you've ever taken this kind of money, do you start in the millions?
I got
Some people are good at business, Emma.
Hey,
Yeah. Negotiate from a point of strength, I guess.
I get some very bad news on the ticket prices for our live event that we're going to be doing on November 5th. We're starting super high. It's going to be $150,000 per ticket to come to this event. And we'll just see who bites.
And yeah, you can buy internationally. You can purchase these tickets. You don't even need to show up.
We are doing a live show on election eve in Brooklyn, New York, November 5th, Tuesday, right? Can confirm for me Tuesday, November 5th, at the Bell House. I think there's somewhere around I think it's 250 or 350 tickets. I don't know. What we're going to do is we're going to put them on sale first for members. We will send an email over the next couple of days for members with a link to buy, and then we'll open it up to non-members. Not sure what the ticket price will be because when we started the show I had a number, but after seeing what's lying out there, we gotta. I just want to put people on notice. We will probably give members a couple of days to purchase tickets, and then we will open it up to everybody. Do not know whether we will live stream that or not. I imagine we will definitely record it. We might live stream it. Working on those details. We'll know that soon enough too. But just wanted to give everybody a heads up. It's election night. Election night, not election eve. Election night. The day of election.
Although, there's going to be, for example... Oh.
We got some breaking news.
Okay.
It's not about those ding-dongs. As you know, Donald Trump was to be sentenced around now, actually, in the hush money case. Judge Merchan just delayed the sentencing until November 26th after Election Day, as you know. So, going to be curious, see if he is a president-elect at that time. That'll be awkward, but more on that later. So it is election night. Thank you from Tommy from Yakuba. All right. Oh, Vergonia. Right. That was the other thing. Today's the last day for Vergonia shirts. This is a limited edition. If you want your Vergonia shirt, you must act now. Vergonia shirt. There it is.
Order by today.
Designed by a Majority Report listener, Tony Yannick. Check it out.
And I just wanted to give one more plug for our other runner-up design from Anne in Portland. She also gave us the flag outline for Tony's design. This is this is the website for it.
That is Senza Vergonia.
Senza Vergonia, no shame. And she has mugs. She has other ones with or without the flag outline. So check these out if you.
Those are cool too.
If you also would like to avail yourself of all of the Vergonia options from these sweepstakes.
That one looks like if we launch a cult. We'll use that graphic design. It looks really good for that.
Still thinking about it.
The dues are $400,000 a month.
Don't forget justcoffee.coop, fair trade coffee, hot chocolate. It's a co-op, folks. That's why it's justcoffee.coop. And they are just in the way that they treat their suppliers. Fair trade coffee. They're really great. They have blends. They have single origin. Check them out. Justcoffee.coop. Emma, ESPN.
Yesterday on ESPN, we had our big season preview where we picked and predict the playoffs and then also gave our picks against the spread for the week because the NFL is back, folks. YouTube.com/ESPN show for that. Matt, what's happening on Left Reckoning?
Oh yeah, Left Reckoning. Yeah, check out. Sorry, I completely forgot what we talked. Oh, Soberania talking about Mexico judicial reform, and yeah, check that out. And also, actually, that's what I'm going to plug. So patreon.com/Left Reckoning to get access to that.
Quick break. Fun half.
You are in for it.
All right, folks. 646-257-3920. See you in the fun half.
Are you ready?
Who sent us this?
Alpha males are back. Boys back. And the alpha males are back.
Just as delicious as you could imagine.
The alpha males are back. Boys back. And the alpha males are back.
Just wanna degrade the white man.
Alpha males are back.
I take all of it in my throat.
Alpha males are back.
Snowflakes has what?
The alpha males are back.
You are a madman.
And the alpha males are back.
Oh no, Sam Seder, what a fucking nightmare.
We bring back DJ.